I'm Adam. I'm Chickeezy, but you can call me Chick. And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Hey Chick, do you ever feel like you should be someplace else? I am a blue hippo with Kenyan parents from Cincinnati. I've always felt a little out of place. Now imagine that you were a failed project being held in a secret lab with others that were deemed failures. That sounds intense. That's what today's book is all about. Let's get started. The Barnabus Project by the Fan Brothers. Barnabus lived in a secret lab. He was half mouse and half elephant, but he had lived in the lab as long as he could remember. The lab was hidden beneath perfect pets on a perfectly ordinary street. It was deep underground where no one would ever find it. The lab was where they made perfect pets, except Barnabus wasn't quite perfect. He had been put in a part of the lab called Failed Projects. His home was rather small, but that just meant it was easier to keep tidy. The green rubber suits always fed Barnabus his favorite food, which was cheese and peanuts. And yet, he sometimes wondered about that world outside his little bell jar. It was Pip the cockroach who told them stories about the world above. Stories about a sparkling silver lake, green trees, the mountains that reach all the way to the sky, lit with their own stars. "Maybe someday I'll sit on the grass and look at the stars," said Barnabus, and when he closed his eyes, he almost could. "Impossible," said Pip. "Nothing is impossible," said Barnabas, but secretly he worried his friend might be right. I hate when people tell me that anything is possible. You don't think that's true? I don't think you could fit the whole world inside one car. Maybe not, but I think what people are trying to say is that you can do much more than you think. At that moment, the green rubber suits came in. They turned on the lights and checked each bell jar one by one. They made strange noises to each other. They peered and poked, and they prodded. They put red stamps on all the jars. Then they left. "What does it mean?" said Barnabas, looking up at the strange red stamp. "It means they're going to be recycled," said Pip. "That's what happens to all the failed projects." "You'll be fluffier afterwards," offered Pip kindly, "and you'll be cuter, and your eyes will probably be bigger." "I like having small eyes," said Barnabas, although he wasn't even sure anymore. "Do you want to know a benefit for having small eyes?" "Sure." "It's hard for people to tell if you've fallen asleep." "Okay, I don't know how that's a benefit." "And it helps your poker face because people can't tell where you're looking." Barnabas slumped in his jar. He wasn't fluffy enough and his eyes were beady, but he liked himself just the way he was. And what if, after he was recycled, peanuts and cheese were no longer his favorite foods? What if his friends didn't recognize him after? What if he no longer cared about green trees and mountains lit with their own stars? "We need to escape," said Barnabas suddenly. The other failed projects gasped, but then they cheered. "Impossible," said Pip. "Nothing is impossible," said Barnabas. He took a step back, and he kicked as hard as he could. He charged at the glass, but the bell jar was much stronger than he was. Finally, Barnabas made a sad sound with his coat. A tiny crack appeared. He was free. Good for him. Yeah, it's good to see him escape. Not only that, he's staying true to himself and accepting of how he already is. I think people would be happier if they could do that for themselves. Absolutely. Then he freed the others, the Dust Bunnies, Light Up Lois, Bumble Bear, the Amotax, Mushroom Sloth, Wally the Ripple, Stick 1 and Stick 2, Quirt, Moshi, Pompidou, Fertile, Blinky, the Bottle Mogs, Lowell, Percival, Spike, Pinto, Chloe, Peep, Leaf, all of them. You have to understand, they had never been outside of their jars before. There was quite a commotion. They whooped and sang, they chirped and hooted, they stretched their legs and jumped for joy. When they calmed down a bit, they peeked over the edge. The floor was far below. "Now what?" said Quirt. "We have to work together," said Barnabus. One by one, they helped each other down, until they finally reached the floor. "Shh," said Barnabus, and they all fell silent. Then they heard it too, footsteps in the corridor outside. "Quick," said Barnabus, "we can go through here." He didn't like dark places, but the footsteps were getting closer. Everyone crawled into the vent with Light Up Lois leading the way. It was a tight squeeze for some of them. "No way, no how. I'm claustrophobic, so there's not a chance that you'd see me crawling through vents. Not even to escape. I would rather chew my way through a wall." Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that with these friends. The vent led into the most secret part of the secret lab. They all looked up. "We need to run," cried Pip, but Barnabus couldn't run. The great sad eye seemed to be looking directly at him. "We can't leave it behind," said Barnabus. "It's scary," said Pip. "It's monstrous," said Quirt. "It's appalling," said the Anotax. "It's a failed project," said Barnabus. "Just like us." They worked together to turn the great valve that opened the tank. But it was too late. The green rubber suits had found them. Just when all seemed lost, the tank doors swung open and water flooded into the lab. Up the water carried them, up to the world above. "You see Godzilla Puss there?" "Yeah." "Looks just like one of my exes, but I had to break it off." "Why's that?" "Too clingy." When they finally opened their eyes, they were in a puddle, surrounded by shelves of perfect pets. Everyone ran toward the exit. Barnabus stopped. It was almost like looking in a mirror, except Barnaby's eyes were bigger and his fur was like cotton candy. He was perfect. "Barnabus," Pip called from the front of the store. "Look, it's the outside world." Barnabus ran to join his friends. He might not be perfect, but he was free. The world was much bigger than Barnabus and his friends ever could have imagined. And just like Pip said, there were mountains that reached to the sky, lit with their own stars. "You were right," said Pip. "Nothing is impossible." Soon they found a place full of sunshine and happy noises, green trees and soft grass, a place that might be home. It wasn't always easy, but they always stuck together. Oh man, could you ever imagine living in a lab? Dude, I grew up in a zoo. Weren't the people nice to you there? Yeah, everyone was great and the zoo was fantastic. But it was like being on a reality TV show. People were always watching me, and I wanted to just go out and explore. I would say that's the moral of this story. Stay true to yourself, stick close to your friends, and always make sure to get out of a lab if you find yourself being genetically modified. Exactly. I'm Adam, and I'm Chick, and this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Did you know hybrid animals really exist, such as the growler bear, grizzly and polar bear, the liger, male lion and female tiger, the wholphin, false killer whale and dolphin, beefalo, buffalo and cow, leopon, male leopard and female lion, zebroid, zebra and horse hybrid animal, geep, goat and sheep,